So in continuing this pencil guitar experiment, on this one we're going totally flat. The pencil design is different on the top than the bottom. I figured I'd just do them both different and then I'll see which one I like better and I'll make that the face of the guitar. The pencils float in epoxy, so if I were to just pour it right now, the pencils would float out of design. That's why I've got these wooden posts, and what I'll do is I'll glue these on top of the pencils to hold them down when I pour. Got a new tool. This is a 15-inch Delta planer. This is going to save me a lot of time and pain compared to using the router planer method and just make things a little bit more efficient here. Pouring a layer of epoxy. I'm hoping this will end up about 1/8 of an inch thick on this surface. And then I will plane the other side and do the same to it. Alright, got both sides planed and epoxy coated. They look really good so far. A little bit of color bleeding from the epoxy, but that's alright. So now it's time to get this thing cut out. One of the difficult parts about working with colored pencils as a medium is that you can't sand it because the colors bleed, and because of that it has to be sealed up pretty much immediately after being cut. I don't typically route the body shape most of the time, but with the colored pencil guitars it's really the only option to get clean sides. So it is a little bit annoying to work with in that sense, but it looks cool. I got this little saw at Harbor Freight to cut fret slots with. I haven't tried making my own fretboard yet, so this is all kind of an experiment. The kerf on the saw blade it comes with is too wide, so I ordered another blade with the right kerf for the fret slots. I built this little table out of thin plywood, and it just basically rides on the saw like this. And I have a little line marked where the cut is. Using a fretboard blank attached to an already slotted fretboard, I'm able to use that as a template to get the slots cut perfectly. That saw is a little underpowered. It took a while, but it did get the job done. The nut slot is cut out as well. Most electric guitar fretboards have a radius. They're not flat. Typically it's around a 9 or 12-inch radius. I have this radius block which has both a 10 and 12-inch radius built into it, and so I'll just tape some sandpaper in there and use that to sand the radius in. These are the offcuts from the neck, and the idea here is to resaw these into multiple thin pieces, then glue them up together to make the control cavity cover out of. I have this control cover here, which I'm going to glue on top of the wood, and this is just going to give extra rigidity, and it's also going to help me get the shape as accurate as I can later. Something else new that I want to try on this guitar is adding binding around the entire perimeter. If you can see, there's a little edge of clear epoxy from the top and bottom seal pores, and I think the binding will cover those up nicely and kind of just tidy up the whole body. I mean, it wouldn't be one of my builds without a hookup along the way. I just spent the last hour searching for this tiny little piece of epoxy that got torn out by the drill press, and I did somehow manage to find it, so I'll have to get it glued back in. It won't look perfect, but most of it gets covered up by the string ferrule. I don't like drilling into epoxy in general, but here I just lowered the bit too fast. You gotta go real slow when drilling this stuff. Personally, I like the design of this guitar with the pencils laying flat a lot more than the other designs I've done with pencils. The first thing I want to mention real quick is that I am going to be selling this guitar. I've got too many guitars laying around, so I figured it's about time. And with everything going on in the world right now, and especially here in the United States where I live, what I'm going to do is put this guitar up for auction on eBay, and whatever it sells for, I will be donating 100% of that to Feeding America's COVID-19 Response Fund. Feeding America helps towards getting food and funds to local food banks across the United States, which is really significant during a time like this. Yeah, so I mean, hopefully we can do a small part here in helping out those in need during tough times like this. And I will put the eBay link in the description. It's got DiMarzio humbuckers, which I really like the look of. No covers, just the chrome tops, which look really slick. Hip shot bridge and locking tuners. It's got a 3-way mini toggle to switch the pickups. Yeah, this guitar, it did take a while because I was trying out some new things with it. Like the fretboard, which came out really well, and the figured maple looks awesome. The playability and feel on the neck is really good. It plays super smooth, so overall I'm pretty ecstatic with how it plays. Another thing with the pencils laying flat like this, it should be significantly stronger than the other guitars where the pencils are more vertical. So I really do think this is the ideal orientation for a guitar. It's pretty bright sounding. I'll show you here just real quick. I'll do an official demo at the end of the video, but right now I kind of just want to give you guys a feel for the different pickup selections. The bridge pickup is pretty bright. And then here we go, middle. And finally go to the neck. So yeah, I mean, it sounds good. It's got good range to it. Another thing I want to mention real quick is that I didn't put any strap buttons on this guitar. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I typically intend for my guitars to be more of an art piece than something you're going to go, play concerts with and stuff. So there are no strap buttons on this guitar, but if whoever buys it wants to throw them on, that can be done pretty easily. This thing's not factory standard grade. There's small aesthetic imperfections here and there. But overall I think it's the best looking guitar I've made yet, and I'm excited to finally get one of my guitars on the market and into somebody else's hands. So if you guys want to, check out that eBay auction if you're interested. Like I said, I will be donating 100% of whatever it sells for to Feeding America's COVID-19 response fund. Other than that, hope you guys are all staying safe out there, and I'll get to the demo here in a sec. As always, you guys can follow my work on Instagram at BrillsArt.